What if female Deku had agreed for part 3? And in part 2, Izumi fought one for all Bakugo in the one-on-one tournament in US Sports Festival and would have dog walked on him easily and had used her mind core to send herself and Bakugo to the Vestige wall because Izumi had realized Bakugo had one for all, which she found very stupid. And Izumi would have seen the previous one for all users with Bakugo as Izumi would have been went back to the real world with Bakugo before the One for All users could do anything, and then Izumi would have won the US Sports Festival after defeating Bakugo, obviously. And when the internship arc happened, Izumi would have joined Mount Lady's agency because we know Mount Lady is money hungry. Like there's a scene I remember of it, and she is smart with money, I guess, and hero image. As instead of training Izumi, Mount Lady and Izumi talked about how to gain more fame and popularity and money, and due to Mount Lady's agency being far from host city, Ida would have been gotten his spine destroyed a lot. Because of that, everyone has to come back to UA High now and then UA have to deal with the press, I guess. But then Ida told them about what happened, and yeah, so yeah, UA is back. As we start the final exams are, and we are going to start the final exams are, and Izumi and Bakugo would have no choice but to team up and fight against All Might. And Izumi would have knocked out Bakugo because she does not have time to deal with with the bullshit of Bakugo and her trying to team up because she does not care about this. And she would have been fighting All Might not alone, but basically what she did is basically block All Might from getting close to her and mostly tricking him by using her room to send him flying away while dragging Bakugo by the collar of his shirt. And when every time All Might got too close, the same thing again she did as well, as she and Bakugo would have won an Izumi's room, and Izumi learned her room technique so good that it's like a weaker version of Infinity, but still, it's still passable if you really put your strength into it. But All Might was holding back by a lot, so yeah, it won't work. And after it, All Might told her that while it was a smart way of her using her quirk, in that interesting sometimes she has to fight as well, and Izumi would have just nodded as we now jump cut to the first training camp arc, and Izumi would not have talked to Koda because her time is precious, so Koda would be killed by Muscular, and when Izumi came there, Izumi would have easily beaten Muscular with her skill and smartness and killed him without anyone knowing, as Izumi would have went to help the others, and instead of Bakugo this time being captured, it would have been Todoroki captured because Bakugo is too strong to capture and Todoroki can be captured to blackmail Endeavor, and they would also capture a few more students for more blackmailing, as this put a lot basically bad shit on UA. So UA has to, and because of that, UA has started to make some plans to save them as the Camino raid arc started, and when the heroes arrived as the League of Freaks villains, they had saved Todoroki and the other students, which would have been a success until All for One came in, and in the fight between All for One and All Might began. All Might before and like this had went basically the same as All Might as before All for One could be detained. Izumi would have secretly killed him. How? Don't ask. I'll be answering that in the last part, basically at the end part. As we now jump cut to Izumi in her room and looking at what other people she has to kill before trying to rule before trying to rule, what was it? Yeah, Japan. Basically, what the fuck? Basically, what people she has to defeat before she can rule Japan. And her first commoner's degree is basically basically she has to kill Overhaul. That's it. And she would have defeated Overhaul all alone, and yeah, basically defeated Overhaul all alone, and would have and taken all of his assets, and would have sent Eri to basically a hospital and basically to UA, I guess, without anyone knowing. As we start a new arc, and it's called the Emerald Rura arc. As we now jump to 3 weeks later, and Izumi finally getting out of her basically getting her wealth from there, if you know who he is, if you remember correctly. And she would have started using this money to obviously help the people to gain trust, power, and a lot of things. And when people asked about her cook, like Nezu was basically about her money, Nezu hero commissioners or Aizawa, she just said, I got my adopted dad's inheritance, that's all. And yeah, she would have basically been doing this, helping people, yada yada yada. And like basically this would have been gone for a while as until 6 months later of doing this, she would have gotten a bit too much, power in her hands, or basically too much fame and popularity. Like she basically has more popularity than most heroes, I guess. Like rank 3, rank 2, and maybe even All Might. Well, he's not here, so yeah. Like most of the other arcs wouldn't even happen because most villains are dead, I guess. Major villains are dead for hell, I guess. So yeah, she would have been basically doing this for a while until the hero commission, being greedy, wanted to take her down and basically try to take her money from the inside, I guess. We would have tried to send mercenaries after her, or basically some ex-heroes, but Izumi would have easily defeated them and basically gotten information out of them, and then would have started blackmailing the hero commission because she still needs them for some usages in the future. As after, let's say, yeah, as after 3 years, not 3 years later, Izumi would have become a hero, and the others, if they can pass it, I say it. Yeah, so she becomes a hero, and then she basically lets Bakugo be the number two, no, not number two, number one hero because she knows, because she can't be everywhere at the same time, because like she has work to do, and after a while more of working, basically helping people, basically she helped the almost entirety of Japan if you really think about it, and she would have also run for, I guess, president if you really think about it. Yeah, she would. And yeah, she would have done this for a while, like I said, at least 10 years plus, and then she would have made her grand plan, which is the assassination attempt of every single leader of every country, except a few that she knows will not try to even attack her or think of even attacking her. And she would have done this, also attacked herself, but due to her being a pro hero and having regeneration on her, she would have easily survived. She would have survived by almost getting her body cut in half by the assassins that she had sent. And then after the assassination attempt had ended, the world had went to hell, but Izumi and any government that is willing to help the other countries without a leader, basically also every politician and law-abider basically died, except the civilians, or I guess any type of doctor, yeah, they survived, and even military generals, so there's literally no one strong enough to actually rule. So yeah, Izumi would have started helping the people of other countries basically with her wealth and basically psychological warfare tactics. And in this period, which is 10 years, Izumi would have been able to control 67% of the world, basically the entire world, 67%, while the 33% is basically countries that are either too unconcerned or just don't really care about that much of power needed because they have control over their own country. And this is where we in part 3 of What If Human Deku had a greed quirk, and I hope you like it because this part is getting rushed because I hate it, because I didn't really want to continue it because after I failed the entire thing, I guess.